Hello, guys. Hello, and welcome to the Laws of the Enchantress. And it's your girl Connie. And if you're hearing this on Has to Split Economics, either channel, please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. So this is going to be probably one of the most divisive, one of the most challenging videos I've ever done. But it had to be done. As you know, I started my Enchantress, Laws of Enchantress 3-4 months ago, and it's been a blessing. People are there healing, getting empowered, feeling wonderful, and it's truly an honor to work with all the beautiful Black women who are looking to heal, looking to get whole. And we're launching Course 5 right now, and even if you haven't been here, once you get the promo, once you get the option, you can see every single course, everything is there. So I definitely recommend you guys taking the course. But I do want to talk about something a little bit serious today, and it's going to cause some issues. So the title of this video is Stop Blaming God and the Church of 4 Chicken Wings and Pork Fried Rice. So if you're looking at the screen, there's a lot of verses from the Bible. You're probably like, oh my God, I don't want to see this. But listen to me. I do not care if you have a religion, if you don't have a religion, if you're Hindu, if you're Muslim, if you're Wiccan, if you're Afrocentric. I don't care if you're a Buddhist, and I really mean that. My best friend from the 9th grade all the way to my life is a Hindu. She is Indian, and I love her and I respect her. But I have to speak up because it's like it's open season on Christianity. And I really feel like there's so much misconception, there's so much misconstrued, and I truly feel like I just want to clarify a few things. And that's why I have slideshows of verses passing by. Because I truly think that there's a lack of education, there's a lack of knowledge, and there's also massive corruption. As many of you may not know or do know, I'm Roman Catholic, and I'm not inviting anyone to be Roman Catholic, but I am always fact-based. And it seems to me there's a lot of irregularities happening with Christianity in certain communities. And I just want to clear this up. Like, I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if you're going to the Church of 4 Chicken Wings and Pork Fried Rice. What I mean by the Church of 4 Chicken Wings and Pork Fried Rice, you have somebody who's not a theologist. You have somebody that's not educated in the Word. And you know what? Anyone can pick up the Bible and start preaching, get in the Spirit. But the danger with that is they're just doing their interpretation. And their interpretation might leave you very lacking. Their interpretation might leave you as a woman, as a Black woman, vulnerable. I hear so much when I'm coaching Black women who got abused, or they're a part of the church and the church allowed them to get hit and beaten, and the church is just not there. And the Black church. First of all, Christianity is not supposed to have a race. Christianity is the word of God. If you believe in God, God is supposed to be for everyone. Again, you do not have to be a Christian to enjoy this video, but you can just listen to the truth. Because it is all about perspective. It is all about what people are saying. And I've gotten to the point where, people feel freely to shit on Christianity. And I don't think it's okay unless you know the truth. Once you know the truth, you are free to make a choice to do whatever you want. If you want to fly a kite, if you want to go over the rainbow, if you want to worship the church of Rainbow Bright, if you want to worship the church of orange tabbies and puppies, I don't care. It's America. And I truly believe the beautiful thing about America is that we all have religious freedom, and you could be an atheist, you can be agnostic. This is nothing. But I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth is, once again, Black women, you have been lied to. Look at the verses. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as a weaker partner, as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life. The Bible has tons and tons of verses, literally acknowledging that husbands should treat their wives nice. It's a covenant with God. So if you're in a Christian religion and you're Black and you're talking about the church allows you to get beaten and abused, how about you leave? Just different folks for different strokes. There's thousands of dialects of Christianity. If the one you're in doesn't suit you, leave. That's what I did. If you're dating men and you like men, and I hope you do, even if you don't, that's fine, but we are a heterosexual group. And you're having bad experience with men, and boyfriend after boyfriend dumps you, and boyfriend after boyfriend gives you challenges. Do you say one morning, well, since men are treating me bad, I'm going to try women? That's how crazy you look to me. If you go to one church, out of the tons and tons and tons of demographics, out of the tons and tons and tons of denominations they have, you have to find the right one that works for you. If you see the core of Christianity, and you don't like what it stands for, then by all means, you find something that moves your spirit, or just don't. Don't become religious. Listen, the choice is all yours, and I mean that. That's the beauty of it. But the truth is, Christianity talks about if a man cannot provide, look at the words on the screen. But if any provide not for his own, especially his own house, he has denied the faith. Give the people these instructions too, so they may not be open to blame. If anyone doesn't provide for his relatives, and especially for his immediate family, he has denied the faith, is worse than the unbeliever. It's over and over in the Bible that a man leaves his father and mother and become united to become one flesh. And there's a lot of talk about becoming one and joining one, because you have to understand, this is why Christianity is so profound for me. You're talking about 2000 BC. Women were property. Women were cattle. Nobody cared about love and romance. Women did not have to be loved to be married. And Christianity came along, and it blew people's mind that a god or a deity was commanding man to be one with a woman, and commanded man to love women, and commanded man to protect women. And it's very sad and very tragic to me that in the Black community, a tool that can be useful to make happy families and happy marriages has become warped and abused. Because you go to the church of 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice. Read what's on the screen. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother to be united with his wife and to become one flesh. That means whatever he does to her, he does to himself. The church does not advocate abuse. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loves his wife loves himself. This is in the Bible. But depending on the church of 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice, look at the words passing by. You might be going to a church and they don't want to emphasize this. They have their own agenda. Men are flawed. Men will use anything to corrupt. There was corruption before Christianity, and there'll be corruption after Christianity. People will always look for opportunities to gain power and use things as scapegoats. There was crime, death, and murder way before Christianity, okay? And you have to pay attention. If it don't feel good, walk away. But I think it's up to me, to Christians like me, to talk to the ones who come to me and tell me about the abuse and the madness that happens in these churches. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. That he that loves his wife loves himself. And you got to understand how profound that is. Because back then, they were aware. They were fully aware that men were abusive and men hit women. You got to understand, you really have to come with the logic. For that to be happening in 2000 BC, to command you, to tell you, hey, if you touch your wife, you're touching yourself, that is profound. All, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins. Peter 4:8. I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm just trying to prove to you that when you go to the church of 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice, when you go to the church of Church's fried chicken, when somebody just gets up in the morning and it says crap, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. And I'm telling you these verses, these are Bible verses, these aren't Connie verses. And I'm telling you this for a reason. Husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since there are heirs with you of the grace of life, so your prayers may not be hindered. So I want to know what kind of pork and chicken fried rice that you going to. See, biblical submission isn't yielding to your husband's will. It's yielding to the will of God. And if you're honoring God, that means you're honoring your wife, because that's the word of God. And Black women need to walk away from these 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice churches. Perhaps you should become another religion if that's what they're doing to you. Because I can't imagine that a queen, a daughter of Christ, has to worry about getting her ass kicked and the church backing up that ass kicking. That is ridiculous. And that you have to know, Black women, that is not reality. There's so much worlds and inner worlds that Black women got to deal with. We got to deal with so much inner worlds, and that's not reality. When you're submitting to your husband, you're really submitting to God, because the church is the head of the husband. And look what it says. But if anyone doesn't provide for his relatives, and especially for the members of his house, he has denied the faith and is worse than a non-believer. It's not cool with God. A man's prayers will be hindered if he doesn't treat his wife with honor, both publicly and in secret. And this is what's so profound. This is 2000 BC, and they were fully aware. You have to understand, you have to really take a second to sit back and realize that this type of language, prior to this, women were chattel, women could be abused, used. No one gave a crap about women. You're absolutely right. So these ancient texts that are thousands of years old, way before their time, no one else was saying anything like this. No one else was speaking anything like this and telling a man that his prayers will be hindered if he doesn't treat his wife with honor, both publicly and secretly, as if they proactively knew. They were trying to protect the woman in public and secret. This is profound. This is highly advanced, highly for that time. And it is a disgrace that you have Black women getting hurt, abused, whatever madness that's happening in the church. But that is not ordained by God. That is ordained by whatever scrupulous and negative, crazy, mad person you got running that church. Just like if a man is treating you bad, it's not all men. Doesn't mean you're going to go out there and grab a woman. I hope not. But I had to come out and say this. Because every single day when I'm coaching women, I hear about this. If anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for his immediate family, he has denied his faith and is worse than an unbeliever. This is why so many people run from true Christianity. God is basically saying, you a deadbeat, son. God is basically saying, if you don't provide for your family, you are worse than a non-believer. This is how serious it is. But when you got people going to the church of 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice, look at the verses. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since there are heirs with you. There are heirs with you of the grace of life. So your prayers will not be hindered. So what kind of God would allow you to get your ass kicked and get your ass beat when God is telling you, hey, there are heirs with you. They're going to inherit the world with you. See, heirs with you of the grace of life. So your prayers may not be hindered. God is willing to hinder your prayers if you don't live with your wife in an understanding way and show her honor. So you think, who told you that submission means getting your ass beat? It's right in front of you. Peter 3:7. You don't gotta listen to me. Look at another one. If you shall afflict my daughters, or if you shall take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. You understand? It's all about perception, and it's all about interpretation. Now, if you don't want to be a Christian, more power to you. I truly believe follow a spiritual path or a non-spiritual path. I don't want nobody to be forced. But he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. There's so much honor on women in the Bible. And when you go to the right church, when you go to the right Christian place, this should be open. This should not be a secret. But there's so many times when I coach Black women, they have no freaking idea about these verses. All they hear about submission. You got to submit. First of all, God is well aware of the evils of man. If you read the Bible, that's why so many times he says, treat her like you treat your own body. Or treat her the way that Christ loved the church and gave up his life for her. Even if you don't believe in Christianity, just think about the analogies. Christ was crucified, bled to death, asphyxiation, one of the most painful ways and humiliating to die. And you're not supposed to gain anything or even have a wife if you're not willing to die the way Christ did. They're trying to tell you the level of love and protection and honor you're supposed to get as a Black woman or any woman that's following the faith. I am sick and tired of seeing Black women abused, taken advantage of in the name of Christianity. That's the name of Daquan. That is the name of Daquan. Shaquan, Daquan. It's not God. Okay? Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially their own household, has denied their faith. God is not playing with ashes. And it's worse than an unbeliever. God is not playing with ashes. This is why I am Roman Catholic, because I am taught by people that went to theology school. I'm taught by people who are educated in the faith. And I'm not saying you cannot get the Spirit in you and pick up a Bible and start preaching. But that leaves a lot of room for your own interpretation, and people aren't always good. It's sad to me to see Black women come to me and get their ass kicked and say, well, I was going to church and the church said it was okay. It's wrong. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. So which one is it? Is the Bible bipolar? No, it's not. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. These are from the Bible. So if you're going to a church that doesn't adhere to this, you don't skip all this crap and go straight to submission. But if any provide not for his own, and especially those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Look how crazy God will drag you as a man if you don't provide. This is talking about men. Look what it says. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. I don't think the modern person kind of understands how profound this was during this time. No one was talking this shit. God forgive me. No one was talking this crap in 2000 BC. This was not, you didn't need to do this to get or keep a wife. A wife was property. And look what the Bible is saying, a wife of noble character. Who can find? She's worth far more than rubies, son. They were telling you from back then that you are a treasure. She's a wife of noble character. Who can find? She's worth more than rubies. And rubies are precious, and rubies are priceless, and rubies are valuable. And so are you, black women. So are you. And I'm here to tell you, as a Roman Catholic, I am honored. I am adored. In the church, that's why we pay so much attention and honor to Mary. We don't worship Mary. We honor her as the mother and a wifely figure and a role model for women to follow. That's why in Catholic Church, this crap will never happen when I'm picking up the phone and coaching people. And I got to hear women talking about they got beat, hit, all kinds of sexual abuse happening in the church. Look what it says. Be considerate as you live with your wives and treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life. So nothing hinders your prayers. Husbands, love your wives as even Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Where do you see you can submit me and beat my ass? What do you see? I don't care. You got to listen to what I say. This is not what it was intended. Perception matters. Interpretation matters. And I love my faith. And this is the faith that I love. But my heart breaks. The tears flow. And my body aches when black women are in pain. I actually care about black women. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Right now, you got Ciara getting a good man like Russell. You got Megan Good with a good man. You got Angela Bassett with a good man. These are all Christian men. Denzel Washington, Christian men. And this is the path and the tradition and the culture that many men could adhere to live a peaceful life, but it's been corrupted by selfish people. It's been corrupted by people that see an opportunity. The same people that go to church and try to turn the church into a bank, try to turn the church into a private bank. They only go into it for the money. You got plenty of bad Christians, but you got bad Hindus, bad Muslims. You got bad Buddhists. You got bad in every type of demographic, not just religion. You got bad men. Does that mean that if men are bad, I'm turning gay? If you got a bad experience with food, you stop eating? You get food poisoning? You don't eat food? You get some nasty taste in water you don't drink? You have to look at the interpretations. It says, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it. So if your man's not ready to die for you, if your man's not ready to bleed for you, if your man's not ready to give his life, he's not worthy to submit to, because you're not submitting to him. He submits to God, and through him, you submit to God. That's how it's supposed to be. God's not giving him supreme authority as if he's a God himself. It doesn't work like that. And it's so sad because when you see happy marriages like Megan Good, they know the truth. When you see happy marriages like LaToya and Tomicus, in the same way, husbands, you must live with your wives with a proper understanding. They are the weaker sex. Treat them with respect because they will also receive together with you God's gift of this. Do this so nothing interferes with your prayers. If you're meant to be abused and your ass kicked, why there's so many verses in the Christian Bible talking about how he's supposed to take care of you? And I need you women to understand how profound this is, because this is mad old, son. You got to understand, no one was talking like this in 2000 BC. It was not necessary. You get a wife, you marry your wife, she shut her ass up, she bend over, she pops kids out. You can beat her, drag her, whatever you want to do. So you got to understand how crazy it looked for Christ and his disciples to be walking around talking this crap to men that were abusive, to men that were masculine and just don't care, to men that saw these women as property. This is the profoundness of the Bible. This is the uniqueness. Even now, saying such wordings is still kind of like etchy. It's still extreme. You still got men who are not going to do this. And it's the year 2018. Just picture how crazy this shit was to walk around during an ancient time when women were literally chattel, where marriage was not for love. The Christian faith was one of the first faiths that was a one God faith that talked about marrying one woman for love. It was profound. It was controversial. It was salacious. And that's what didn't help Christ, fit in. Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. I'm reading from the Bible. Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. That's why if you go to a real faith, not the church of 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice, getting your ass kicked, getting disrespected, no one's going to say stay with your husband because you broke a covenant with God. Look how many verses are in the Bible commanding the man to respect the wife and love the wife. If you know anything about God, God is mad strict. When Moses tapped that rock and he took all the credit for the rock, Moses did everything. Led the people out of Egypt, stood up against Pharaoh, and God still said, nah, son, you try to play me, son. You're going to walk around this desert for a while, but you're never going to make it to the promised land because you try to take my shine, son. I mean, he didn't say it like that, but it was kind of that flavor where God was like, oh, so you think you're going to break a covenant with God? You think you're going to do all these? You think you're going to beat your ass? You think this is what God wants? This is not what he wants, and it's not me trying to sway you. That's why you're not seeing my face. You're seeing the words passing past the Bible. You know how long it took me to get these clips to make this slideshow? And like I said, this is not a conversion video. I don't care if you're a Hindu hearing this. I don't care if you're a Muslim hearing this. I don't give a shit if you're atheist, agnostic. Father, forgive me for cursing. But I get very passionate when I see people manipulating, hurting black women. And at least be honest and say you're an asshole. Don't be hurting black women in the name of God. How beautiful you are, my love. How perfect you are. Songs of Solomon all about worshiping and adoring the woman. Marriage is to be honored by all, and husbands and wives must be faithful to each other. God will judge those who are immoral and those who commit adultery. And it says husbands and wives. If this was truly just a male-dominated way to oppress, suppress, and abuse women, there would be no dialect in this Bible directing husbands to love because there was no one doing it during that time. It was not necessary. I'm going to keep saying it. And you really need to sit down and think about in 2000 BC how marriage was prior to the introduction of this knowledge, prior to the introduction of saying marriage is to be honored by all, and husbands and wives must be faithful to each other. You got to understand how crazy that shit was, son. How crazy it was to speak these words. And I'm talking to you real because it saddens me when I see black women being taken advantage of. Then they get mad at God. They get mad at the church. They get mad at Christianity. They reject the faith. But strangely enough, black woman, you don't reject the man who done this to you. You keep that man. You fight for that man. He's a problem. I see black women staying with the same guy that caused them all this pain, and they don't reject that man. They don't walk away from that man. They complain, they bitch, they moan, they host conference calls, they do slideshows, they do all this fucking shit. They do PowerPoint videos, they do drive-in movies, they go on Facebook, they go on Instagram, they go on TV, they go to Steve Harvey, they complain. But strangely enough, the black woman don't walk away from the man that's causing her this pain. So why is God and Christianity a scapegoat? Why don't you scapegoat that man? You know why? Because you respect that man above all else. And you don't want to respect his faith. You want to look for reasons and excuses. You want to look for scapegoats. And that's the truth. Why don't you walk away from the man? Find a wife and find a good thing. It shows the Lord is good to you. Find a wife and you find a good thing. Find a wife and you find a good thing. It shows that the Lord is good to you. The God is saying what? The wife is a blessing. Find a wife and you find a good thing. It shows that the Lord is good to you. Does this sound like a misogynistic, purely, there's a lot of stuff in the Bible. But why would somebody choose to bypass this is just a fraction of the romantic stuff. I'm just showing you a fraction. But why would somebody that has good intentions bypass and put together something where it says beat your wife, kick your wife, hit your wife? There's a New Testament and there's an Old Testament. And when Christ came, he brought the love with him. That's why we say Christian, because our faith starts truly with the introduction of Christ. Before that, it was Jewish. And that's where you see the faith broke off, where the Jews said, okay, we don't believe in him. He's not a prophet. He's not the deity. And we took Christ as a savior. So, it's truly where it broke off. And we're a Christian because of Christ, because Christ walked this earth. And the reason I said that is because all this stuff is in the Newer Testament, in the newer Bibles, in the newer worships. You need to know the truth. Look what it says. Men ought to love their wives just as they love their own bodies. A man who loves his wife loves himself. Because no one ever hates his own body. It's just as Christ does the church. So think about that verse for a second. They were fully aware that men hit women, that men kicked the women's ass. Not only they want you to love, it's not just love. They're talking about physical protection. Because no one ever hates his own body. And they're commanding you to love your wife just as you would love your own body. And you got to understand that's about physical protection. That doesn't say, oh, submit and kick her ass, son. Read it. You ought to love their wives just as you love your own body. A man who loves his wife loves himself because no one ever hates his body, which is true. If I command you to love your wife as you love yourself, unless you're crazy or got some kind of crazy disorder, you're going to treat that person good because I command you to treat them like you treat yourself. And hopefully you're not crazy and you treat your wife good. So they were fully aware of how things were. They were fully aware. God was like, okay, we got to make sure she's protected and respected and honored. So let's make sure that God knows he got to treat her the same way he would treat his own body. Husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. Son, he who loves his wife loves himself. And you need to know other truths about Christianity. Christianity was not started in Europe. Christianity was not started by white people. Christianity was first worshipped as an official denomination in Africa. The oldest Christian churches on the entire planet are in Ethiopia and Somalia. That's why the early images of Mary are black. That's why if you go to Poland, they still worship a black Mary. The only reason why we got so many white images is because the Roman Empire adopted it and spread it fast throughout Europe. And of course, people are going to make images and how they look. You're not going to have no white man in Italy making a black statue no matter what. And that actually helped the faith to spread faster versus seeing the tan skin. You got to know your Bible. You gotta be able to know the basics. You don't gotta be deep, but this is basic stuff. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins. I don't understand how so many black women are going to the church of 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice, going to the church of biscuits and honey biscuits and churches. You can read this stuff, and there's so much protection. There's so much emphasis, and I'm telling you, it's actually really incredible, because what you have to understand as a woman is that back then you didn't need to love, you didn't need not to hit her, you didn't need not to do anything, you didn't need that. You could do whatever you want to that woman. So when the Bible came out in this ancient text, commanding men, you got to love her like you love your own body. Commanding men, if you don't take care of your house, you a loser, son. You are ashy. God was calling people ashies from a long time ago. What do you think he mean by infidel if you don't take care of your house or you reject your faith? He knew about ashies. He knew about men. Come on, son. Come on, son. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself up for her, so he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of the water with the word. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of the word. See, God works through the man, and the man gives the works to the woman. He's not doing his own sermon. He's doing an act of God when she is submitting to him. God is giving him a massive responsibility to honor her, provide for her, provide. No ashy, son. If you can't provide and protect for the family, okay, then you don't need to have her. Look what it says. If you don't love her, you don't love yourself, and you are disobedient to Christ. Okay? Do you know what disobedience to Christ is? It's not a good thing. God got mad because Moses took, some credit for some water coming out of a rock. You think God going to be happy if you go to heaven and you're kicking your wife's ass like Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson? You're kicking your wife's ass like WWF, you body slamming her like she's a rock? Look what it says here. Dusties, refusing to provide for one's family. Certainly if anyone doesn't provide for those who are his own, especially for those who are his members of his own household, he has disowned the faith and is worse than a person without faith. God was calling out dusties. And look what it says here. Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Submit to one another. Submit to one another. Submit to one another. Stop going to the church of pork, chicken, and fried rice. Stop going to churches that don't have a national influence. Stop going to churches of Daquan and Deshawn and Shaquana that get up in the morning and whatever page the wind blows, that's the sermon. Your body is a home of the Holy Spirit. The body is a precious thing to God, woman or man. Ain't no God gonna command that you get your ass beat and you gotta stay because you gotta be submissive. That's a perversion of the faith. Stop going to the church of 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice. Stop going to the church of a shrimp egg roll, son, with the duck sauce. But if anyone provide not for his own, especially those of his own house, you a dusty, son. Even God was calling out dusties in 2000. How do you feel to be called a dusty? You an ancient dusty. But if anybody don't provide for his own, especially those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. An infidel is like a blasphemy, somebody that doesn't believe in God. God is like, if you can't provide. I'm putting this stuff on the screen mad times so black women can see. Those who were lied to, those who were abused, those who had to work and struggle, those who weren't provided for, you have been lied to about the faith. And I don't care where you go. I really mean that. God bless you or whatever. But we don't need to beg people into the faith. But I can't take any more people blaming the acts of a man on a faith. When I go to Catholic Church, the Episcopalian Church, and Seventh-day Adventist or any other church, a real church, this doesn't happen. If you don't provide, you a loser. You a dusty. So say the Bible. If you're not following what God wants you to do, love your wife, protect your wife, you a dusty. But if anyone not provide for his own, especially for those of his house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. What the hell is the problem, son? Stop going to the church of pork lo mein. Put the soy sauce down, son. Read the verses. Stop making people suppress you. Because let me tell you something. They could take Christianity away. Them ashies will still find a way to take advantage of you. Many of y'all walking around and you're not religious and you're still getting played. You're not religious and you're still getting abused. You're not religious and you're still getting cheated on. You're not religious and you're still attracting the same calamity. It's a different medium. And what I mean by a medium, you can't replace and make an excuse. You can get rid of Christianity and Hindu. You can get rid of anything. You're still going to attract the craziness in your life because these men, this is what they mean to do. Not all men, but a bad man is a bad man is a bad man. And they will look for reasons. Today I was watching a show and Steve Harvey was talking about the reasons men cheat, all these dumb reasons. And these aren't religious men. These aren't Christian men. Why men are abusive? Why are men verbally abusive? Why men like to do this, that, and da-da-da-da? There's always going to be abuse. You think men weren't kicking asses before Christianity? You think men weren't subject to... Girl, husbands, you're supposed to love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And if he ain't doing that, you're not supposed to be submitting to nothing. It's just like a plane. You got a pilot and co-pilot. And if the pilot is flying crazy and trying to crash the plane, the co-pilot's supposed to knock that dude over, knock him out, drag him out, and try to get that plane to safety. You don't follow somebody that's trying to make you crash. You don't follow somebody that can't provide. You don't follow somebody that can't lead. You got a president and a vice president. Look what's happening now. Look at the madness that's happening now. That's not good leadership. Your husband's supposed to love you. as Christ loved the church and gave up his life. Stop making dudes zoom up on a tiny part of the Bible. Read that whole section. Read what the cost of submission is. Read that whole section. For one, nobody ever hates his own flesh, but nourishes it and cherishes it. You got to understand, nobody hates themselves. Men not supposed to. And that was a way for you to get physical protection. So not only were they commanding men to love their wife, which means be ready to die for her, be ready to suffer for her, be ready to get crucified for her, they also wanted to make sure that you weren't getting your ass kicked. Love your wife as you love your own body, because no man ever hate his own body. So they were fully aware of the violence that was happening. Could not just love her, but they talked about the physicality, the body, the physical. And that's why I made this video, because I don't want to hear no more black women staying in black churches because they were told to be submissive and it's because of the black church. Let me tell you something. Let's keep it mad real, son. Mad real. There are black women getting their ass kicked and they're not Christian. There are black women being left and with dusties and they're not Christian. Like I said, if you don't get to the heart of the problem, which is lack of love, lack of confidence, lack of femininity, lack of gender roles, lack of tradition, if you don't get to the bottom, you're always going to find men trying to hurt you through any medium. Men will try to hurt you through any medium. But you don't want to come to terms with it. You want to blame God and blame Christianity. But you don't blame the man. The man always stays. The man never goes. No matter what he does, you don't walk away from men and say, I'm done with men. I'm joining a convent. I'm becoming a nun. You don't do that. Because if you truly hurt, that's what you would do. But it's easier to focus on the hate for Christianity. It's easier to focus on the hate and disrespect God and say, screw this, screw that. Because if you didn't do that, you might have to look the guy in the eye. You might have to look that black man or any man in the eye and come to terms with the fact that he's just messed up, son. It's all him, son. Ain't got nothing to do with religion or faith. It's him looking for a scapegoat, looking for a way to manipulate you. Plenty of black women getting manipulated. Don't use religion as a medium. Don't blame it on God. There's plenty of black girls I know who are not remotely religious and they suffering. They crying. They can't afford the rent. They got 2 or 3 kids. They always angry. They're always negative. They're looking for every opportunity to hate black men. They're just so full of hate because they don't want to take accountability for the type of men they attracted. You got to do the Ciara. You got to level up. And what's crazy about the level up with Ciara, the thing that's making me touch my eye and twitch as I'm talking to you, is that no one wants to admit what the fuck she leveled up to. She leveled up to a Christian man. She leveled up to a God-fearing man, to a family man, to a tradition. She doesn't level up as in terms of money and stuff like that. They both had money. Okay, he worked for the NFL. He gonna have some more. But the fact is, she leveled up to a man of God. And that's what's making the community irk. Because you're not supposed to do that. Remember? Bad boys win. Remember, girls like bad boys. Remember that was the excuse. That was the other scapegoat why guys were acting up. Because they were told, hey, you don't got to be nice to girls. You could play girls. You could do whatever you want to do to girls. It don't matter. Do what you want. Because girls are stupid and they like the bad boy type. But when you see a squeaky clean guy like Russell, who didn't have sex till he get married, bag a hot chick like Ciara, that just throws the whole game off. And that's what people are uncomfortable with because it's not gospel. You're talking about somebody that was knee deep in the R&B hip hop community. You're talking about a woman that was smoking weed in one of the pictures I saw, chilling with Future. And if you look at her face, look at her persona, look what a man of God can do to you. Look at her face. I did a study in my Law of Enchantress secret group. I did a study and I gave an assignment to all my gorgeous women. And I told my gorgeous women in my Laws of Enchantress club where we're learning about femininity, where we're learning about the energy of femininity, not no makeup and hair and wigs. We're talking about the essence, the femininity of a woman. Take a look at Ciara's femininity for me. I want you to do the challenge. Google pictures of Future with Ciara and Google pictures of Ciara with Russell. She looks younger, son. Her eye expression, her face expression, she's glowing. That's feminine energy. It's the same woman, but she looks 10 times more beautiful now. You can't compare the beauty. She looks 10 times more beautiful because her feminine energy is receiving love. And women are receivers. We receive sperm, we make it a baby. We receive. That is our role as women. You give us a house, we make it a home. You give us a kitchen, we make you food. You give us a table, we set the dinner. This is not okay that we're ignoring. We don't want to talk about. We keep saying, oh, she leveled up. But are we actually listening to what Ciara's saying? Or it's too much for you? Is it an inconvenient truth? Is it too much for you? You can't be like, yeah, Ciara leveled up. But nobody actually wants to freaking pay attention to what exactly she leveled up to. He's Christian. Just like Megan Good. Just like LaToya Tuckett or whatever her name is. The girl that used to be in Destiny's Child. Just like Denzel Washington. Just like Angela Bassett. But you got to understand, we live in a liberal society that is very anti-Christian. It's more pro-gay, pro-transgender, pro-homosexual. And I have no problem. I had best friends that were gay. I was the best woman at my best friend's wedding. But what I'm seeing is that Christianity is becoming the new taboo. Christianity is becoming the untouchable. You can't talk about it. Why do you think Ciara's getting attacked? She got married in July 2016. We only got 5 months left in 2018. It is August. And men are rolling in their grave because black women are seeing more lies. Oh, you ain't got to treat bitches good. Well, bitches don't like good niggas. You treat them good, they leave you for the bad nigga. That's why scapegoat, scapegoat, scapegoat. Like I said, they don't need Christianity and church to mistreat you, my sisters. They don't need that to mistreat you. You're playing yourself. You can leave the church and leave God and say, screw Christianity. You can say bounce. They will find reasons to do what they really want to do. It's called a scapegoat, scapegoat, scapegoat. You need to wake up. And you do your own research. Go to different churches. Feel the vibe. Just like when you're dating men, if a guy can make you feel good, you don't say, I'm turning into a gay. You don't do that. You keep trying. Look what Ciara did. Look at the level up. Look at the contrast between Russell and Future. It's like night and day, day and night. You can't compare it. There's absolutely no comparison. And I want you as a black woman to wake up. People will try to manipulate you no matter what. They'll find reasons. They'll find reasons. Look at Ciara. The Ciara issue is a problem because for so long, the bad boy type, the swagger, the hood, that edgy, sexy, that dangerous guy, the guy who's no good for you, but you just can't keep away. Because those are the guys that finish first. Nice guys, there was no motivation for guys to be nice, so they say. Guys made up the mantra. Nice guys finish last. Guys made up the mantra. You can't be good. They'll play you. Girls like bad girls. But it takes everything away from them. Ciara is drop dead gorgeous. Beautiful black woman. Classy black woman. Slim, nice, everything. There's nothing you can say bad about her. I see dudes reaching. There's nothing they can say. And Russell is a squeaky clean, good guy. And what's crazy, men should be happy, especially black men, who are always complaining that we get labeled and stereotyped. We get labeled and stereotyped, and they say bad things about us. Black men should be going crazy for him. They should be walking around with Russell t-shirts, son. Because he totally blew away every stereotype. He's a great father. He's a great stepfather. He's a provider. He's a protector. He's a leader. He's a Christian. They should be walking around with Russell flags. For all the negative stereotypes, the bad images that black men have to put up with. And it's not fair. I'll be honest with you. Pretend you're Russell. And you got to hear all this negative stereotype about black men. Who wants to hear that? You're a black woman listening to this. You don't like when people make presumptions about you and call you a baby mama or call you ghetto or just say any negative connotation. You don't like that shit. But don't you think it's kind of weird That this is a man that can break through all them stereotypes. He got his own seeker. He worked for the NFL. He never been arrested. He's a good father, provider. He's loving her. He's making y'all look good on a national platform. We need those positive images of black men. But isn't it funny how many radio stations, newspapers is clowning him? Even Wendy Williams on her show was calling him corny. You got to understand, there's a problem in the community. Look at the words passing by on the screen. If you got a chance and you just listen to this video, you need to look at the words. Take a look, because I put some slides in here that are talking about what a man is supposed to do. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. If he's not ready to love you in that way, there is no submission, because his submission is to God. God is the head of the man. And that head over you is through Lord. So if he's not ready to sacrifice and kill himself and bleed and stand up for what's right and willing to risk his life, he shouldn't even be able to touch a hair on you. And this is a command from God. This is Ephesians 5:25. And I put it 100 times. So you black women can see that you can leave the church. You can say, oh, I'm not a Christian. That's not going to help you, son. Because the guys who are mean you no harm, the guys who mean you harm, they'll find a way to get the harm to you. It doesn't matter what they do. If I'm a bad girl and I'm a hoe or a thought, wherever the hell I am, I'm just not a decent woman, I'll find a way. I'll find a scapegoat. I will find a way to reach to you, to go through you and snatch you up and find any excuse. Love deeply. Love deeply. This is in the Bible. Find a church that's right for you. And if you don't like Christianity, if you see all these verses and you see the heart of Christianity and you're like, these nuts, I don't really care about this, then fine, walk away. I love my faith. And it's so beautiful. I think it's an honor to be a part of it. I don't think that anyone should be dragged or convinced or heavy-handed into this. But you got to know the truth, what it says. Just know the truth and make a decision based on the truth. If someone doesn't provide for his own house, especially his own family, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. It says it in the Bible. And whoever does not provide for relatives, especially family members, has denied the faith and is worse than a non-believer. How come they don't talk about this verse in the black church? I know it in the Catholic church. That's why we got providers and leaders in other demographics, other than denominations. Look at the husband's role is take the lead in the home. Take the lead in spiritual prayers, worship, given to God, and natural matters. Leadership means servanthood. Lead by example, not dictation. Submission is to one another. And dwell with your wife in understanding. Do you understand that if you are going to a church and you're getting beat, the guy don't respect you, and bad things are happening to you? Do you understand that's not the church? That's the guy using his lust for oppression it's not the church. If you're a black Christian woman and you never heard the talk about Timothy, 1 Timothy 5:8, where you're supposed to provide for your own, and especially for those in his own house, or his faith is denied and declared worse than an infidel. If you never heard these verses, you got to ask yourself, why? You got to ask yourself why. Everything has an agenda, my friend. And sometimes there's a good agenda, and sometimes there's a bad agenda. There's a reason why Ciara is causing a calamity. There's a reason why Future is fighting. Because it's not just about that. It's about the fact that we cannot allow black women to see the truth. That a good Christian man can pull a bad girl. That a good Christian man, good guys do finish first. If you're a good man, you will get a good woman, because then all the other guys will have no more excuses. They will have no more excuses to be assholes, to be players, besides the fact that you make choices. Now, I don't want to hear no more black men in bad neighborhoods. You ain't got a father. You ain't got this. You ain't got guidance. Anything a black man doesn't have, a black woman doesn't have twice. Because at the end of it, at least you got your physical body. If we are left as a child, unprotected, unloved, girls need their daddies just as much as men do. Psychologically, it even shows that women can be even more affected. That's why they call it daddy's girls, and that's why they call it mama's boys. It's a biological thing. You need your first opposite sex impression. And for men, that's their mama, and for girls, that's their father. And when girls don't have their father around, they lack self-worth, self-confidence, self-adoration, self-respect. It can even affect their intelligence. They don't feel important enough. They don't put themselves first. They're not assertive. It has a domino effect mentally. So when I hear girls worrying about this and that, what about black women? Worry about yourself. And it's not being selfish. It's the God to honest truth. Because a woman's not made to be living in this world unprotected. There's a reason why men are physically stronger. Not because they eat in vitamins. He's supposed to be protecting you, respecting you, and honor you. He's the head of the family. He is to love his wife. He is to provide for his family. Read the screen. Ephesians 5:2-3, Ephesians 5:2-5:2-8, Ephesians 5, Timothy 5:8. Look what God calls an infidel. If you can't provide for your house, you can't provide for your own. God ain't got no time for that. He was calling out ashes. And an infidel is someone who is not a Christian or who opposes Christianity. I bet you don't hear this sermon in the 4 chicken wings and pork fried rice, in the lo mein, in the freaking Popeyes and Church's chicken, in the freaking Burger King and biscuits, churches y'all be going to that tell you this crap and abuse you and hurt you. Tell you this crap to make you hate God and blame God. Like I said, if you know the truth of Christianity and you make a decision to walk away, if you say, Connie, it's not for me, I respect you. I love you. I adore you. I got gay friends. I got straight friends. My best friend from the 9th grade is Hindu. She's Indian. I went to her wedding. I was a maid of honor. I was in the Hindu ceremony. I respect everyone the way I want to be respected. But the truth is the truth. It's not okay for people to interpret Christianity the way they want to. Because you as a black woman, you're missing out on making men have something to strive for. When men see men like Russell getting the badass, banging, beautiful Ciara, it's something to aspire to. Men might start saying, oh, wow, you can live happy. When you start seeing men like Megan Good, not men, but the men who pull bad girls like Megan Good. Megan Good is a gorgeous black woman, gorgeous, and her husband's a pastor. It starts to make men say, wait a minute, do nice guys finish first? And it's absolutely true, because the girls that respect nice men are the ones you should be making your wife. The girls that admire nice men and men who can provide and men who can lead and men who protect and men who are Christian, those are the ones y'all should be rushing to marry, not the knucklehead girls who don't want them guys. The old Ciara, she don't deserve no Russell. The new Ciara do. But the only reason we got new Ciara, because she had to go through the old Ciara. She had to get her heart broken, be left a single mama, get cheated on, before she realized, oh shit, son, I gotta start loving from the inside out. Having a family, being a wife and raising a child, it's more than some cute sideburns and some creamy dark skin. You can't just go, you're talking about building a family, building a legacy, generational wealth. And the crazy thing to me, I find Russell so much more attractive. He's smiling. He make her smile. Like I said, do the Ciara challenge. Come back in the comments after you watch this video. And I'm dead serious. Please come back in the comments and do the Ciara challenge. Take pictures of Ciara and Future and line them up side by side. And you contrast it to Russell. Just take a good look at Ciara. How she's smiling, how she's glowing. She looks like a younger woman, a different woman. And look at Russell too. Look how he's grabbing onto her. Look how he's feeling up on her. Just do this Ciara challenge. I had the ladies do it in my group, and it was phenomenal. It was like night and day. But I'm also here to tell you, there's a lot of simple happiness. I don't care what the race is. When I say I don't care what the race is, I'll show you pictures of black men, white men, Spanish. I don't say color over character and only show you fucking Bobby and Billy and Chad. That's not me. And I can easily say swirl, 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 because my boyfriend is white. But that's not about that. It's about the character and the contents. Because you're going to live with this person. You're going to be in the same house with this person. You can't run away, son. Guys be driving in circles, don't want to go home to their wife. You don't want that to be you. And there is a way to have a healthy marriage, to have a healthy relationship, to focus on that person. And you're going to see what these people did. like Megan Good, like Latoya, like Ciara, like Angela Bassett, like Denzel Washington. These are suppressed Christian couples who, because of the liberal Hollywood, really can't market that Bible stuff. Because if you're not in the gospel community, if you're not in the Christian community, they don't really want y'all to be talking that mainstream. Megan Good says she can't get movies ever since she made that book with her husband, and she limit herself what she can do with the scenes. You gotta realize that y'all been going to the church of pork fried rice. Y'all been going to the church of 4 chicken wings and biscuits. Y'all been going to the church of Cracker Jack. Y'all been going to the church of potato chips and ketchup. Because a lot of you don't understand there are bad people in this world, and the faith is powerful. And people will use that faith to hurt you, to make you feel less. It's power, and power corrupts absolutely. As a husband, it says here, love, lead, and provide. Look at it. Read the screen. If you're just listening to my voice, stop what you're doing right now. Just stop. Put it down. Come. Hurry. You got a few seconds. Walk from the kitchen. Walk from the living room. Stop the TV. Look at the screen right now, black women. As a husband, I will love, lead, and provide. As a wife, I will help, manage, and love. Then it says 2 are better than 1. These are all from the Bible. I don't see where it says, as a husband, I will kick, punch, and bite. And as a wife, I will cry, scream in pain. That's not there. And many of you walk away from the faith thinking that once you walk away, that's the end of your problems. Sure, Future wasn't Christian, but Russell is. Got him. Future's not a Christian. Russell is. Got him. So it matters on the character. And you don't have to be Christian. When you start dating, what I teach in the Laws of Enchantress course, it's so much. I can't tell you, but it's a wonderful course. I have the Laws of Enchantress coaching page. I just put it up. It's not even 3 days old. I got over 200 likes. Come look what the girls are saying about the course. Come look what the girls are saying in the course. Come take a look. Don't listen to my word. Come to the Laws of Enchantress page and see why people are taking the course. See why people are taking coaching. I could have helped Ciara through a lot of pain. You got to have your prerequisites. You got to have your character. You got to know what you need as a woman before you go out there and say you need a man. What do you need? Love, happiness, faith, protection, provide, leadership. You got to know what you're looking for. You go to a grocery store and something as frivolous and repetitive as buying groceries. You buy that shit all the time and y'all still need a list. You know you need milk, butter, eggs, pepper, chicken, but you still make a list because you're serious about getting exactly what you want. Well, this is getting exactly what you want. But like Ciara, y'all got to get hurt. Y'all got to get burned. Y'all got to get played. And you say, whoop, I don't want that shit to happen again. If a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? And you think part of ruling that house is kicking your wife's ass, making her cry? You truly believe, and some of y'all believe that. Y'all see the Christianity and the black church as the most evil thing. And it might be. Go to a different church. Take a cab. Love your wife, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for it. Husbands, love your wives. And you got to understand, this was profound. You're talking about 3000 BC, 2000 BC. Ain't nobody was talking like this. It's the year 2018. And it still sounds profound to say such a pure love, such a command of love. I mean, I'm doing this video. I did this video mad late because I was so passionate about getting this message up. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives and treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with the gracious gift of life, so nothing will hinder your prayers. Anyone who doesn't provide for their relatives, especially their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. This is in the Bible. And if you're going to the church of 4 chicken wings and a biscuit. You don't have to go there. You got Episcopal, Protestant. You got Pentecostal. I don't know, son. You got Lutheran. You got Roman. You got Greek. You got Orthodox. I don't know, son. You got non-denominationals, Brooklyn Tabernacle. Son, I don't know. And the choice is up to you. You can do what you want. But I'm always